Hi guys. I just threw you a mic. So, Art, do you want to? Art lover, do you want a mic? Give me a heads up. Just give everybody a few minutes to pop on in. How are you, honey?
Fine. Tired.
Yeah. What time is it by you? Late.
uh, 22:10. So
22. 10.
yes, on the digital clock.
Is that
So
8? 8? I think it's 8, right? I'm trying to figure it out.
it's over 10 in night. The 10 in
Oh,
night
it's
here.
10. Okay.
So that yeah, it's very much happening around the world. A
Oh,
lot with
it's
it.
too much. It's too much with the strike and the banks. And have you heard about Bank of America? Any more about
Yeah.
it? I know you posted it.
Wait, I put it on a better. So, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
So I don't know how it's been there. I did not see any articles, but
I'm
I
trying to
am.
find people who bank with them, and a lot of people have pulled their money already. I don't bank
Yeah,
with them.
that was a release in bank run as a report. And also the banks in Sweden got some problems, especially in Nordea
Oh,
around the same
wow.
time. And our government is completely childish now. They're throwing tomatoes in the
Wow.
government media to each other.
Wow.
And if you go back in 2 days ago, our legacy media, SVT, got red color on the front door. And it's red October. And tomato is red. So,
Oh,
so-
yes, yes. Wow. Oof.
and also we have they have gone big on the pedophile stuff here in Sweden. You see, is in the municipality news, Ljusdal, there was the nominee to the Swedish Best Child Caretaker. Have you been not so good to kids for 6 years because he's been pedophile? He was nominated to be the
Oh,
best. So he self-deleted himself, we can say, before this article come out.
wow. It's like the flashlights being shone on everyone, all the dirty doers. Eva, did you want to jump in, sweetie?
Yes, I will tell you that the news, people who works on the news have red shoes on them the day after that my daughter talked about. They have red shoes on them, so that is about the children because the
Yeah.
Vatican. So that is very tough for the deep state people in Sweden right now. I must say that they are really hunted.
Wow. The
Uh,
red shoes are a dead giveaway, right?
yeah,
Yes.
and we have something around Knivsta. There is this Ericsson headquarters there. They're talking about to move it because they have problems there with the migration. But I think it's under something else. They have problems with. And we have also another company here in Sweden is connecting to the investor through the CDO. There it's called Nordvolt. It's a connection. Have the battery factory. There have been a lot of accident in that factory that have ended to death, and we
Oh,
have
wow.
corruption in the factory, and so many things. in that, and now they have closed business and start to sell off this factory parts right now, the machines to do the batteries. So there are
Oh, the
much things.
battery.
So there are much
Wow.
things going on, and also they are pulling out those who's not working in municipality in Göteborg or Gothenburg. I said that they discovered that the municipality, the politician was paying others for the bidrag, the subsidies they're paying some others that no one, nepotism, when you have a family,
Oh, nepotism?
nepotism, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So they going, there's there are so many things going on right now, both in the local area and high up, and I just laughed out. Here in Sweden, I never have seen. We always pride ourselves as a Swede. Now you do that we don't behave like government outside, throwing tomatoes and bully each other in the government. That's gonna be a very, very hard swallow for the normal Swedes, that they started to throw tomatoes in the government.
Wow. Well, yeah, the storm here, that big storm, turns out
Yeah,
that area, that area in North Carolina, the Carolinas, there's what did they say?
I heard it's lithium there.
Yes, there's the stuff to make the batteries inside under the ground. So now we know why this storm, which storms never, make a left turn like that. It was just insane.
It spell out the
That is much,
battery.
that is much water there too. I think I
Oh
see that on the
yes.
picture.
Now you got to
Lot of
remember those are
water.
mountains. There's mountains there, so none of it makes sense. Like well, how does mountains flood? It
Mm.
doesn't make sense.
And did they call the storm Helen, or is I remember wrong? Is it
Yeah,
another storm?
no, I believe it is Helen. Yeah, it's Helen.
And if you want to know something, hell if you take the first part of Helen, you get a Nordic goddess Hel, who is from the underworld, rules the underworld in the Nordic mythology.
Interesting. Hi, Mott. How are you, Brian? I threw you a mic. Hello, everyone. Please retweet the space. Would totally appreciate that.
And
Okay.
also, I know that Donald Trump answered you.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that was like an answer to everyone, but I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
yeah, that was why I written down to you under the tweet that called that is like a come to you, and also the Dr. Harper. I think
Yes.
they're showing something here to us. But
Yeah. I mean, isn't it strange that I was kind of plucked out? I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So weird. I know. It's so silly.
Take it as a compliment,
Yeah.
Tisha.
Yeah. I am. I'm not gonna look at it as a negative, like oh they're watching you. No, it's all good. Oh, well, Mott, you said it last week that Trump listens to us, and now he turns around and tags me in a tweet. Mott, are you there?
Yes, I am.
How are you?
I'm fine, my dear co-host. My dear host and co-host is there as well. Tony is here. Brian is here. And Eva Luna is warming up. I can hear that. Peter, very welcome. Well, I
uh,
got your second host. Well, where is
uh,
Jan? Where is Jan?
I did send it to John. We'll see if he comes. He's been
Yeah,
pulling all-nighters on here.
yeah, I
I've been
saw that.
watching him. He's on all night.
Mott, you know they are throwing tomatoes in the Swedish government right now. I saw that in Expressen. I've
Yeah,
tried to.
there were a minor riot in the audience in the in the Sweden from the visitors, the spectators of the it was aimed at the foreign minister, our new foreign minister. The other one, he left the day after Poltava. And that's not the 1709 Poltava. Yeah, it was the recent Poltava, the one that is very quiet about here in Mordor.
I think it was.
Anyways,
I think it
yeah.
was taking the Arctic Sea.
Yeah. He took a holiday on the Arctic Sea, to the Arctic Sea, which is a sea actually. It's pretty interesting that when people say, well, you know, the Europeans, they are so close to Russia, and we are not, from the US. Even the president said that. And if you take a look at the distance between Alaska and then you can almost throw a stone between Alaska and the US. They even had a plan to build a bridge/tunnel, railroad that way between Russia and the US. It's not far. It is approximately as far as between the islands of Gotland, where we have Visby, the seafarer law from the Vikings, which will be the admiralty law, to the Hansa cities and all of this, the Viking 2.0, the East India Company, which were very, very keen on hijacking ships, doing some piracy, and we will do some piracy with the with the Vikings. I almost picked for music today. Maybe we go for that. Possibly, very possibly, we go for that a little bit later. But right now, please retweet this space to somebody you really don't like. If there are somebody you really don't like, send it through a DM. If there is somebody you really like, please send it by a DM. Because this space, Brian, it can be...
Oh, yes, it can be quite glitchy, bumpy. Friends, the lag might get you. So do yourself a favor. Strap yourself into your seat. Become comfortable and make sure that you tend to your device. Become very intimate with your device. Make sure you finger it regular, touch it. Make sure it's okay. It's okay. It's your personal device, and you can touch it. You can actually become very intimate with it. Comment section is there, the like and share button, so that others may be informed and otherwise entertained that they might be able to join us. So keep all arms, legs, feet, hands, inside the space at all times. We wouldn't want any of those members to get away from us and, find their own way. So, yep.
And be aware of the comfort model, because that one is running in all of these spaces these days. There are so many operators, and zero of the operators They are big accounts. They are big-mouthed. They are very knowledgeable. They can speak. They can do they can even speak in chewing gum at the same time. They are really, really good at this, but they still present the comfort model because they all intentionally or unintentionally, because they are indolent, ignorant. I don't know. I can't tell the difference. But they all miss the common denominator because they are 3, 4, 5 letter agencies. I don't give a shit. Same, but different. And with that said, we will cut their cord. So shake it away, take it away. Let's warm up with some Shinedown. Let me tell you, I'm vicious, not passive aggressive. I got my finger on my pulse, staring straight into a hole, and I get it. And I'm a savage. It's automatic. I got a way of making noise, the power to destroy, no static. Victory is all you need, so cultivate and plant the seed. Hold your breath and count to 10, just count to 10. I'm gonna make it rain, so ring the bell. I know it all too well. Switchblade on the edge of your wrist, can I get a witness? 'Cause agony brings no reward for one more hit and one last score. Don't be a casualty. Cut the cord! Cut the cord! You gotta feel courage. Embrace possession. If it was easier to shatter everything you ever imagined, but it's not because it's your obsession. Be a fighter. Backbone desire. Complicated in its things, but we both know what it means, and it's time to get feeling inspired. Victory is all you need, so cultivate and plant the seed. Hold your breath and count to 10, just count to 10. Just count. I'm gonna make it rain, so ring the bell. I know it all too well. Switchblade on the edge of your wrist, can I get a witness? 'Cause agony brings no reward for one more hit and one last score. Don't be a casualty. Cut the cord! Cut! Victory is all you need, so cultivate and plant the seed. Hold your breath and count to 10, just count to 10. I'm gonna make it rain, so ring the bell. I know it all too well. Switchblade on the edge of your wrist, can I get a witness? 'Cause agony brings no reward for one more hit and one last score. Don't be a casualty. Cut the cord! Don't be a casualty. Cut the cord! Cut the cord! the chord. Plant the seed.
Wow, that
It
was
is
nice.
great song. Thank you, Peter. Welcome, John. Here
Was
we
that
go.
Jan's entrance song?
Yeah, John,
You
you
can
had an entrance song.
Yeah.
I know. I totally felt that way. I'm like, this is the perfect time I'm coming in right now. I like it.
yeah, that is sort of you, Jan. It is sort of you. We make it John's song. Even there came a Swedish version the other day on our other song we have played a couple of times. You know, with Billy Joel, the fire that keeps on burning. But it is. But this is John's song from today. Good entrance, John. Sneaking in, cut the chord, embrace the position, cultivate, plant the seed and cultivate. It's a good song. I really, really, really enjoy it. So, anyways, with that said, today we're going to talk about. Oh, we actually, this is the short part of the space. It is an intriguing story. We will play later on some song according to this, which will take us to another, and you know, we do it that way today. So yeah, I'm up and running now. I hope you guys shaked it out and got the blood pumping a little bit, let the synapses in the brain connect, and the distance between United States and the Soviet Union was, and today Russia, not much more than between the islands of Gotland and Öland. It is a stone throw and a spit if you are a giant or a troll. It is not that far. So, there are many things that are reassembling in the US versus Russia.
That's shorter than a wolf yowl.
Yeah, you can hear the wolves on the other side. And possibly during it is open sea for the most. Maybe back in the day, the ice was settling. But nevertheless, in that small strait, a strategical chokehold. Believe it or not, a strategical chokehold. Just like the channel of Öresund, where you get out from the Baltic Sea to the open seas, and then you take. Looking at the map, if you look at the mercantile map or the ordinary map, you will, interestingly enough, find the center of the map, a little bit upward, but anyhow, in the center of the map, you will have Mordor. It is in the middle. I can share that picture. It is quite interesting because, as soon as you do another map where you put the US in the center or whatever, people can't orientate. They will be lost. And of course, you have the GMT, the Greenwich Mean Time, which is close by, and so on. So there could be several reasons, but if you just take a look at it. Anyways, so in this small strait, there will be a merchant vessel coming from a small harbor of way up north in Finland, loading timber, going to Algeria. So, but this boat, this merchant vessel, it's not a really big one. It's fairly good size on it, but it has been on the wharf, on the docks, for reparations and overhaul and so on in Kaliningrad, which during this era is a bit of a, it did draw some and please, if you have your phone up and ready, check out where Kaliningrad is. What is Kaliningrad? Well, it is a small piece of land that the Russians at that time, Stalin, kept on the Sea of the Baltic, or on the coastline of the Baltic Sea. It is Russia outside Russia. It is actually sort of in Poland. And there is also a old treaty, so there is a railway, which, well, today it's operated by Poland and others, but on agreement, but that it's also Russian territory that goes from the most western part of Russia to Kaliningrad. So this is a small, it's about 1 million inhabitants, a small area, but it is a important harbor, or was an important harbor, and strategical also for the naval forces back in the day. Today it's more or less naval forces that are there. It's not that important anymore because the weaponry have changed quite a lot since the Second World War. So at this point in time, when die Mauer has gefallen, when the wall is torn down, when the Iron Curtain is deleted, it is shaky times a little bit. It takes some years after the surprise operation of cutting the cord with the narrative, with the Cold War. They cut the cord overnight, believe it or not, surprisingly enough. And the consequence of that will be the war on terror. So what drove the Cold War is, of course, the Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and the political theater, the narrative spin. The nefarious, of course, the fearmonger MAD, the MAD doctrine, which is the mutual assured destruction. This is where we are again today, mentally. This is not something that is a real deal this time. So Kaliningrad will be, in the aftermath here, we will have smugglers, small oligarchs, shady people, Western influenced people, all kinds of people looming and rooming around this area. So Kaliningrad was kept after the Iron Curtain fall, so it's still there today, but it was formed. Actually, it was a German. I think it was a German-speaking. Yeah, it was German-speaking area actually. Once upon a time, it doesn't really matter. City-state sort of thing, Hansa City. So there are shady businesses taking place What could have happened is that the merchant ship, the Arctic Sea, might have been a smuggler's ship, rebuilt with special compartments that you cannot see. You know, the hidden room in the castle. There is a room, but you cannot see. That typical, setup. There is a very likely possibility. So the Arctic Sea takes off and goes to the northern of Finland to load a substantial amount of timber, just timber. But in the Finnish harbor, for some reason, and or allegedly by mistake, she is swept for radioactivity with the kind of equipment you use to check that sort of.
Radiation.
Sorry, Tony.
You mean radiation?
Yeah, radiation. Sorry. Well, that could be called radioactivity also, I guess. I'm not sure about the English, but maybe I was on the Swinglish there, but
Well,
radiation.
that could mean communications, Matt. So you're kind of speaking double talk there.
Yeah, sorry for that. Sorry. Sorry about that. So not radioactivity. I think it could be, but it doesn't matter. But thank you, Tony, for filling in. Radiation. She swept for that. The story afterwards to say, oh, that was a mistake. It was a wrong ship or whatever, some kind of blah, blah, blah. So she's locked and loaded, so to speak, and she goes southbound, heading for the Mediterranean. In between the islands of Gotland and Öland, which is the sort of a calm passage in the Oster Sea, she gets intercepted by a fast-going small vessel with the Swedish word of police on it, visible big one. The inspectors, the police, the alleged policemen, the customs or special forces, whatever, they board this ship and more or less takes it over. They were probably not Swedish police. We will see that later on in the story. They were, as far as we know, they were not Swedish police. And the small raft, no, not a raft, but a rib boat, these fast-going boats. They are not so frequently used by police as well. So that probably was a fake, but of course the skipper and so on, they react to as they should when official vessel of any kind will try to stopping and boarding. They take the ship over. And they keep on going as nothing have happened. So this could be an inside job, outside job. The story doesn't really get us all the way there, but it gets us quite a long way.
Not, not
Yep.
were they
Yep.
were they heading into the Mediterranean, or or what? Where
We're
was?
heading towards. They were southbound with the cargo.
Okay.
So they were actually heading to Algeria, the port of Bejaia, I think it was, big port in. So I can even say I have the text with me now. I picked it up just to make sure that I say. So it's Jakobstad, way up north in Finland. Actually, the area I know a little bit about. The port there is called, and this is a little bit fun since Peter is here. It's called Peter Sari, which is Jakobstad in Swedish for that, but in Finnish it's Peter Sari. So we know that. So they're going from there. As I said, she's not a really big vessel. She's like 100 meters in length. So here is where the story gets strange. This alleged policeman, English speaking, well, lots of Swedes that speak English, even the ones that Gustav III sent overseas in a black ops in 1776. The officers that helped out with large numbers of professional soldiers, merchants of death, but mercenaries called back in the day through the French king and Gustav III. So here's where the story gets a little bit strange, because the owner of the ship, we'll get to the ownership later on, they claim that after beating up the crew and doing, several hours of snooping around and doing nefarious things, they left the ship, according to the owner. And that sounds a little bit strange, but there could be blackmail, threats, whatever. We don't know at this point in time, because now we are, it's actually in the middle of the summer, so it's the 25th. Oh, I forgot to say, this is 2009. Sorry for the timeline missing. Sorry, this is 2009. So that we could say was a false claim from the owners. They said that they left. This did not happen. So in the English Channel, the 28th of July, they passed the English Channel. They are sending out their, they have these onboard transmitters, and they also, when they enter there, they do some radio to the authorities, to the Coast Guard, and so on. On the 3rd of August, when she's, passed through, Interpol connects and asked with the English Coast Guard to keep the vessel under special scrutiny, surveillance, to see where she is and so on. But she is already through the channel. And outside of the Dutch coastline, in the 13th of July, her automatic identification system, which the merchant vessel has to have, just like the airplanes, they have a transponder that tells this is me to the GPS, which is, again, a Swedish invention. There's a very special story about the inventor of the GPS system, actually. Very nefarious from the oligarchy. He stayed alive, but barely. He got some help to stay alive. He's also the one that invented the screen that you are touching on your device, Brian. The device you can cozy with and so on. The color screen is his invention as well.
And the mouse too.
Yeah, and the computer mouse as well. But he was, he's alive. That's the best, according to himself. He's alive. He didn't get rich and famous. Famous maybe, but not rich. And he was threatened, and he was put onto, lots of nefarious stuff. But he was saved a little bit from being totally destroyed as a human being. This is how it is in that kind of world. Anyways, so she sleeps.
Question.
Yes.
Question before you move further there. Just a quick question here. So how do we feel now that we've come to that part? Okay, screens, then, the commandeering of, the tech or anyone's particular part in it, the commandeering of it. So just a quick question to you. Do you like the way it is now? Or do we wish that we had kept technology separate from each other to see what each other could have done with it? Just asking.
Let me put it this way. Antoni Wiener, the inventor, the mastermind behind the AI technology, he was very persistent. He did
you say Anthony Weiner?
Yes, Antoni Wiener.
Just clarifying.
The Anthony Weiner?
Yeah, the Antoni Wiener, the inventor of AI.
Yes, that's right. And if y'all didn't know that, then that was going to be my next
That's
question.
why I was having to clarify.
I'm sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't know that yet. That's going to be a shocker to them that Anthony Weiner is actually the one that created AI.
He found it. He discovered it, not created.
Right, not discovered it. Right, well, not created, discovered it. Yeah, found it there and utilized it. Yeah.
Well. He and his colleagues, they are, they used actually something that I have used in my professional life. To gain, you could say discover, but yeah. Anyways, they used the Monte Carlo simulation method to develop the anti-aircraft central guiding systems of the World War II. actually it was Bofors cannons, the oldest Bofors cannon. We even made a space about that particular one. The most sold gun ever of larger caliber, this anti-aircraft gun that were on the warships of the United States. So the fire command center that could control, even back then, several of these guns that were not individually operated by a human, but by machinery. The
Like a drone?
the guns are sitting on the ship. You can have like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, depending on size of ship. So then you have the radar and
In other words, they had the embedded works. What the radar, essentially what he's saying is they had the embedded logistics, basically, of the
you
of the chips.
control these guns remotely. You could aim remotely. So the fire, the central of firing, they had a very nearby, close by proximity radar system, kind of a radar system. It's not only radar; it is several components, but for finding the targets and getting through disturbances and so on and so forth, because this is messy situations, and also selecting the system to help the fire leader, the leader of the fire, to get the good selection, almost automatically selection of what to fire upon, where to aim at. This is the first AI system in use. This is the mathematics behind it. So Anthony Weiner, he will recognize that this was a stupid thing to hand over to the military industrial complex, and he will spend the rest of his life after the war more or less trying to prevent the military industrial complex and the nefarious oligarchs to get their hands on this technology or be allowed to use it going further. Of course, he fails. The epic thing about this is he will die of a heart attack on the podium when he is delivering a fiery speech at the technical school of Stockholm, aka Mordor. I'm just telling you.
Do we think? Yeah. Do we think that he had a heart attack?
No.
Not
Well,
like
Oh, okay, good. Okay, we're together. Okay.
Didn't he get Arkansas?
He probably had a heart attack, but there are several different options to create one. And that's old tech as well in the spy / 3-letter, 4-letter agencies business, So I don't know. I was not there, but for me, it's as obvious as with Assange. He should never have gone to Stockholm. None of them should have gone to Stockholm and lived happy lives. Well, anyways, so that sort of, I think Brian will answer the question about sharing the technology and patents. The largest patent holder in technology is, I would say, in critical technology for humanity, is the common denominator, those ones sits with inside the structure of the Wallenberg business. Only Ericsson have 60,000 patents.
Mott, can I ask you a question
Yeah,
before you
yeah.
go too far? I want to go back to that Bofors guns and the steering types for them was who was sitting on the ships in USA. Was that IBM? Was that the IBM? You know the old.
Well, I think it was a mix of technologies with inside the framework. So I'm
Why,
not sure.
why I'm asking is that I know that Håkan Lantz, the inventor of the color screen and the mouse and that stuff, came from the IBM partnership. There, he was. He was.
It was actually IBM that saved his life because he was in a really bad state when it came to this is on the when he's fighting for his patent of the color screen. He gets very attacked by actually Japanese, believe it or not, just as the Japanese attacked the Russians when Trotsky should do his revolution. Some reason they are there again with the Seraphim orders and with but anyways, so he's very under attack. They are ruining him, and suddenly and they are killing him in court. In the court of business, the business court,
The light.
by some reason, the international company court, the ICC court, this is not the International Criminal Court, which also is sort of founded by one of the guys in the founders society, in the common denominator gang. So we find them there again in the criminal court, and they are of course very involved in the company court, in the ICC community, the international company federation that is the ruler of the international company court. So he ends up there with the patent things and so on. And IBM will send some guys in black suits, as he said. He said they look like federal agents, he said. And they said, we have this covered. Here you have the paperwork, and we will help you out. So suddenly IBM steps in and make things quite different when it comes to the color screen. But that's and that's probably Håkan himself says that saved his life because he was really in bad shape at that point in time in his life. Brilliant guy, just as Birkeland, but yeah.
Lily, did you have something to add, hon?
Yeah, thanks. I was curious with Project Bluebeam and just artificially generated kind of predictive outcomes, and also what's going on in Geneva. Isn't that kind of the same? Are they all the same sort of thing, or am I way off?
The common denominator will be the largest tech company in the world that you cannot see or are sort of, invisible. They have, as I started to say, the 60,000 patents that sort of runs the internet. And when you come to the atomic energy, to the nuclear energy, and so on and so forth, these are the people that handed over the A-bomb, the nuclear bomb, to the Manhattan Project. Full stop.
Well, that information shouldn't have been gatekept anyways.
Come again, Lily, I couldn't hear you.
That information shouldn't have been gatekept. Like,
Nope.
that Oppenheimer knew that.
Yeah.
It's just a moment there. It's not actually. It's gate kept a little bit. but it's mostly by firewall. Any information is accessible to you. It depends on what you can pay for. You can access the ISO, you can access the large databases and the one there that he's talking about, you can access it. The problem that nobody ever picked up on, maybe you don't know about it, which is fine. It's fine, not picking on you or anybody else. There's a lot of people that don't know about these specific databases, especially where like they hold the patents, but the patents aren't secret.
No.
The patents have been there for a long time for anybody to get their hands on. The problem is two things. One is the cost. The cost is big time. Number two, there's also a certain amount of securitas. ASSAABBA that goes with it. See, one of the red dots, anybody that buys onto any of the information, they just picked up a tracking device. They're going to watch anyone use the patent or do what they do with it. So that patent, whatever they get, whatever they buy, comes with them, the Swedish patrol, the true SS. All right. So Securitas has been watching everything through not just but through audio. Did you know that there's better seeing, not in lenses, not in your eyes? No. The best sight is from your ears, and through speakers and audio, they've gained access to all information, not just part of it.
Yeah, the patent business is just to steal the ideas as good as quick as possible and so on, and also since they have a wall of legal of lawyers, of legal support and so on, a individual inventor doesn't stand a chance. They take what they want. That's what the patent business is all about. It's nefarious through and through. I know. I am part owner in, a couple of patents, so I know a little bit of that subsea stuff.
So you two capitalized on this gift.
You could say that I have been working with inside the big industry I have a very interesting tech career, you could say, but I know what I was doing, and I stepped out of that because I had to. There's no, you cannot tell what I'm telling you with inside that framework when you are in Mordor. So you have to step out of it. You have to cut the cord with.
It's okay. I've got Valcor.
We cut the cord with family and so on to be, as not vulnerable
Well,
for that.
if you want to tell the story, and if they need someone to tell the story and keep the narrative a certain way, yeah, you best do this and do your job right.
Yeah, I think I decent planning, but almost falling on the finish line, but barely ducked that bullet. So talking about the nukes.
It's hard to
Oh, Tony.
in that community. Hey.
Yeah. Tony knows. We can talk about that a little bit later on. So I will continue now with. So talking about the nukes, there's no doubt, historical doubt, whatever, that the nuclear weaponry as such were handed over from the oligarchs of Mordor, the common denominator of lot of things when it comes to them, they, the cabal, the deep state, whatever, they are the common denominator, full stop. And they handed over the secret of blowing up a nuclear bomb to the Manhattan Project because they were the beneficiaries of the Cold War. It was planned. They also were the beneficiaries of the Russian Revolution, of the First World War, of the Second World War, of the Bank for International Settlements, of the dollar.
Revolution.
Yeah, the dollar. Oh, I almost I lost my word. The treaty in 1944 that made the dollar to be the world currency, which will be the Bretton Woods Treaty. They were the beneficiaries of that one as well. And they were intimate and close friends with the people that started the Fed. And they, almost by themselves, started, ruled and controlled the Bank for International Settlements, which is the mother of Fed, coming after the Fed, but she is the mother. She is one mean motherfucker, to be really point blank honest about it. That is the Bank for International Settlements. That is probably the single institution that have affected all of our lives as we are breathing, living human beings here right now, and our grandparents and their grandparents and so on. And if it's not put out of business, it will rule even more of, over our children, grandchildren, and so on and so forth in the future. So hopefully it will be reformed or even put to bed once and for all.
It will indeed. In every outcome,
Yeah.
we win.
Yeah, I think so as well. Now, actually, Lily, I'm about to say that, to agree on that. It might not be while we are still alive and kicking, screaming our heads off, but we are winning, and in the long term,
We will plant the seeds, but not sit under the shade.
yeah, in the long term perspective, we have already won as a human being, team humanity. However, it can take some twists and turns before it's settled, but it looks promising from my perspective. That's only speculative. So, talking about the nukes, there might have been nukes inside the smuggler ship Arctic Sea. She travels on from outside where we have the automatically identification system outside the Dutch coast. And then she disappears. Boom. System off. No ship. She goes dark. She is not visible for the GPS system anymore. And then,
Why do you think that is?
well, I know this is an old story from 2009. So, I don't
I
know
guess this
exactly,
isn't one-on-one.
but I know a little bit about it. So hang on, Lily. I will get there. So suddenly, the owners, which is a Finnish company called OE Solchart, gets a demand in ransom for the ship, approximately $1 million. This is not much money. The cargo is worth like 15 million, $1.5 million. So it's not the biggest cargo, but it's very nice timber. of course.
No, we can't succumb to greed this time.
So the
It's too
president,
late for that. We have a Donald Trump. It's too late for that, hon. Sorry. They burst your bubble.
so a little bit later on down the line here, the president that is actually very active on this platform X and others, and he's a hardcore guy. He is he speaks out. Dmitry Medvedev, the Russian president, former president these days. You will find him easily here on Twitter/X platform. So he has ordered all his naval resources, including submarines and nuclear subs and everybody, to locate and retrieve this vessel. So suddenly, the Russian authorities is onto this, and I mean, now we're talking international sea. We are talking hunter destroyers, battleships, nuclear subs, whatever. They are going full speed ahead and trying to find this ship. And this is also reported by the Russian news agency, the TASS, at this point in time. And they find her 19 days after the hijacking at August the 16th. And she has, with good margin, passed the Gibraltar. She didn't turn into Gibraltar and into the Mediterranean, into Algeria. She just continued on, and they find her, the merchant vessel of Arctic Sea, very close to Cape Verde, which is, halfway down the African continent. The Russians, and this is where this story gets, goes gray. The Russians sent two Ilishny 2 Model 76 large freight planes. This is the heavy carriers. This is the C-105+++. This is big aircrafts. Possibly load 2 battle tanks inside and land and drop them. This is the size of these aircrafts. So they are big. And they can take 45, 50 tons of payload. So this is big stuff we are talking about. There are bigger than those, but so they send 2 of them to Cape Verde, and they take care of the even out at sea, they take care of the hijackers and the crew and so on, and the ship, and take her into the harbor of Cape Verde. So this is the interesting part of it, because we don't know if she was a smuggler ship, which she, with accordance to the scrambling the Russian Navy, including their nuclear armed vessels and so on, something was on that ship that were really, really critical. The story tells that it was like, smuggled that the smugglers were smuggling weapons, old Soviet era weapons, or even newer weapons that were stolen or whatever. Russia is a big country.
We don't know what kind of weaponry. We don't know. And what happened, I mean, we have from the 29th of July to the 16th of August, that's 17 days. 17 days going dark, going gray. So anything could have happened. She could have unloaded whatever. Of course, if they are hidden and so on, it is a bit of operation, but it could have been anything. So my suspicion or my speculation is that it could be old school tactical nukes. This is not a real nuclear bomb or missile or whatever. This is what we call a dirty bomb, the typical ones that we use. You know, a couple of them and so on have been used. It could be a tactical nuke, whatever, based on the good old S-300 systems. That is the possibility, and that will hang on. That will carry, if those warheads are used anywhere, they will carry the signature of the Russian uranium, plutonium that have been used. So you can backtrack nuclear devices. And that is my suspicion, that those ones could, for some oligarchs, for the deep state, for the no one, for they, them, the ones that are never spoken about, besides just a few of us, could be good to have those, put in the storage facility for some of their nefarious.
Which one of them didn't blow up?
It's not blown up. They just are gone. If there were tactical nukes.
No. Wait a minute. What I'm saying, they dropped how many in world? On Japan, how many?
2.
Right. And there was a third deployment. One did not.
But one fell, right?
Right. So there was one recovered that had no guts in it. Yeah, that's documented.
Okay, so somebody nicked that one. This is rather ironical. If the Japanese nicked it or somebody else, this is really ironical, because this is then less than 30 years. In 1917, the inventor, the discoverer, the brilliant mind of Birkeland, he all alone with a gun on his bedside table, allegedly from an overdose of orbital sleeping, a sleeping drug, a very powerful one. He had, a shitload, according to, again, allegedly, he had a load in him that could have killed an elephant. So, and he is the inventor, and he is also a business partner with the common denominator, and his research is also missing. And one of the common denominators just happened to be there as well in Tokyo, as far as we know. And speaking about Russia, he tries to go through Russia because that's the quickest way home to Sweden. But he gets caught in Russia he caught up. He cannot go. He will be there for a number of days, weeks, whatever. We don't really know. The story doesn't tell. He ends up going the other way around, across the US to get home. Take the other route, possible route back home. And then he just shortly after that, he revokes his Swedish citizenship and he goes to Turkey and sort of disappears out of sight. However, talking about Turkey, so we have this Wallenberg guy in Turkey, and something that is called derin devlet, and that means the deep state in Turkish. Sorry, in English. That's Turkish for deep state. They are very. They've been speaking about this for quite a while, and believe it or not, we have sort of a flag revolution in Turkey, and these days the Turks are not so fond about the derin devlet. Actually, Erdogan, he saved his presidency and his life by Facebook, ironically enough. He turned the coup d'etat that was pointed at him in 2016, 17. He used Facebook to get that coup derailed, and he got them all, almost all of them, caught in this. So it was a military coup in Turkey. And I'm just telling this right now here in this space, and we're going to play a little bit of music onto that, so we can think about it. Watch Turkey, because they most likely will step in the conflict that we can see now.
Well, that's the Mossad headquarters, isn't it?
One more time, Lily, please.
The Mossad headquarters is in Turkey.
Not really. But Mossad is, of course, active in all countries that you can imagine. They probably have some good business in Turkey as well. But I think Turkey will step in the Israel business quite soon. And as you all know, they are already into the BRICS. So,
Well, we
But
should be too.
the system that we have now, Mark, is far more sufficient, man. You see, I've given this a lot of thought, and we're having a talk about it as though way behind in catching up or the here and now. I feel like they've got a far more efficient process. The tunnels, man, the underground things. I mean, they're on a whole new level now. It's way easier than that. They don't need that anymore. So now it's to backtrack. That was only as long as they needed that. I mean, we're in a whole new age. These guys walk around in public. Do you understand that? I hope we understand that. These guys walk around in public, not as though with fear, or they're hiding from anyone else. Who would they hide from? I mean, they're watched, they're tracked, they know their every moves, not whoever they are. But the point is, they've got a far more sophisticated system now. I mean, I look at the U.S. and I think about it. It's perfect for its slavery condition. It's a groomed 70 years. It's a 20-year education program. It's 30 years to work them and 20 years to drain the health and wealth. They're gearing up the healthcare side of it. I'd done one of the first studies that I ever done, and why I know the comfort model so well, sir, One of the first studies I ever done was on some of your people and the people that came here to do psychiatrics and to study what was causing their families to have mental illness. And they wanted to stop that. I get it. And they produced a epidemic here that is only wrong. Why, Nancy Pelosi stood on stage herself and declared in front of the entire world that, why, at least 1 in 5, every 1 in 3, 1 in 5, I forget the statistics she used, 1 in 5 Americans have some form of mental illness. I'm sure the world lit up when they heard that shit. You know, because that's far from true, but you can diagnose even the most competent person, you can diagnose them with something,
Well,
right?
we're all in a state of psychosis.
Sort of, yes. And here's a great fear that I have. It'd say the world stands and we live for a while, you know, and these things go on. Nothing happens right away. We've created the Joker. Mr. Sam Bankman-Fried just went into prison. He's going to spend 25 years there. Does anybody know what that guy's going to be like when he gets out? He's
He's
not
not
going to
going to
stop
prison.
knowing. He's not going to stop knowing. But the point is the use of him between now and then and how things change. I look back at 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I remember what it's like in 2000, the 1990s versus what it looks like today. And I can imagine what it'll look like 20, 25, 30 years from now when the Chinese guy just got out of prison. They had locked him up for some things concerning. Anyway, there's a lot going on right now. So they've worked us into a position, you know, that I see.
We're
Everybody sees
not
different.
powerless.
Yeah, we are afraid of
I'm
pirates.
sorry. I don't know you. I like that you keep interjecting the way that you like to, and that's cool. It's fine. But, this is turning in a direction. I love the history space aspect of it, and we're going to stick to that, I guess. But I would really love to talk about the here and now, because there's a lot of things that we know, and there's a lot of things that's not being said at all. But you know, for the story's sake, I'm gonna stop and shut down here. But we really do need to talk because things are unfolding very quickly.
In the here and now, Brian. In the here and now. This morning, Mordorian time, the Jolly Roger, aka the pirate flag, was hoisted at the Monvik mansion/castle. That castle belongs to the common denominator. Every morning, the Jolly Roger goes up. We are afraid of the pirates. Pirate means actually privateer. Privateer is a mercenary, either on land or on sea, but that is the word privateer. And pirate will grow from privateers that made their own business with on the sea, and they received from let's call it the authorities. And this is pretty simple. This goes.
Well, it's only troublesome. It's only troublesome because, you know, Germany just shut down their last coal-fired power plant, right? And they declared the end of the Industrial Revolution that day started.
Yeah, and it's
So
Pirate
now,
Schultz. It's
so
Pirate Schultz that
so
does this. It's
yeah,
Pirate Schultz.
so it's a new pirate.
Pirate pad on one of his eyes. It's Pirate Schultz. Oh, that's a good twist, Brian. It's Pirate Schultz that shuts down sorry for me speaking with German accent. I could not refuse that, but yeah. Okay, Brian, sorry. So.
No, you're right. It is. It's ironically hilarious, but yeah, the tech wars now begin.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
piracy. Pirate Bay, the pirates of internet, the cyber kings, the cyber war kings of internet. It's piracy, and it's just taking another shape. But the tradition there, the hardcore. The hardcore of it, and that will take us to the East India Company, the Viking 2.0. We have gone through the East India Company, forth and back, up and down, sideways, from the left, from the right, from the 45-degree angle, from the 33-degree angle, from the satellite view, from the submarine view. We, in these spaces, we know everything about the East India Company. But something that is hidden, that is not really, it just pops up a little bit here and there in the history books, is that the East India Company, which was the subject of the 1776, the war was against the East India Company, the world's largest naval and land military private army. They had the fastest ships, the fastest boats, the largest number of soldiers in a private company ever. And that is Viking 2.0, granted by a Viking queen. That is a Viking descendant. It is called the British crown, but it's actually the Viking crown. And of course, the oldest crown still running in the West. It is the real, well, it's French now. It's just a puppeteer, but it's still there. It is the one in Mordor. That's the oldest one. So the Viking 2.0, the East India Company, they were pirates. They just were very, very large. And they didn't hoist the Jolly Roger. That's the only difference. They hijacked, talking about hijacking on the high seas, they hijacked 300 of the U.S. merchant vessels in this war. They hijacked them. They just took them from the Americans, from different companies / families and so on, trying to make trade, because they were interrupting the East India Company trade, and they just and that is also one of the reasons for the 1776. But that is very seldom described. And of course, we give Gustav III a pat on the back and his professional army, together with the French king, that actually might have been, that is the one that is not happening in the blue and yellow Ukraine, the Kiev Reich, the Kiev Kingdom, the Kingdom of Kiev, which is also Viking. And you all heard the Tucker Carlson interview about the heritage of the Russians, where they actually are coming from, because
Oh, Germany.
no, they are Viking descendants.
Right, but Vikings were German
No,
before.
no,
They
no,
migrated.
no, they were not. No, they were not.
Leif Erikson. Okay, it goes way back, but
Lily,
if you look at the genealogy, there was a group of Russians that went to Scandinavia. That's just what genetics, like the.
well, it goes the other way around, actually. So the Vikings, they took over Europe, and they spread out and took care of the chokeholds on the waterways all around, even down to the Mediterranean, the Varinga Guard at the Ottoman, at the Bosporus, at Constantinople. The Varinga Guard was ruling there, even if there was a ruler called the emperor and so on. But it goes way back, and they just repeated it with the East India Company. They just repeated it, and they also formed together with the East India Company, what we today call the military industrial complex, together with the friends, of course, but nevertheless, and then we are back to the Bofors gun again, which Tony was talking about. That's and Tony Wiener were, guiding with his brilliant mathematics that will be the basic concept for today's AI industrial technical revolution, which he was an opponent of when it came to the military industrial complex. He, just as Tolkien, found out who Tom Bombadil actually was, why he was wearing his blue jacket and his yellow boots. Tolkien knew, and Anthony Weiner also learned and knew, and this is the way it goes. With that said, and talking about pirates, we are at Astrid and Ivar, Astrid Lindgren, Pippi Longstocking, Ivo Thordgrey, and now we are into the, let's call it the 20th century psyop of the Nobel Prize, of the feminist,
Hey,
and all of this.
Gandalf, there's fire below us.
just quickly, Mark, you said something very profound there and very good, but yeah, at that time, that was, oh my God, what's the name that you called there just a moment ago? Oh, geez, it just left me. I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
If it glitched, it's not a problem. You will have a very short pirate song by Pippi Longstocking in Mordorian, just for your amusement in this transmission that goes out in the interwebs.
Oh, just
Komman pirater, mera bomber och granater och fasliga pistoler med krut och kulor i. Komman nu med kanoner och med byssor och patroner och sablar och geväder. För ni får ändå se. För här kommer Pippi Långstrump, tjola hopp, tjola hej, tjola hoppsan sa. Här kommer Pippi Långstrump, ja här kommer faktiskt jag. Sjören Fabbes jänta, vet nog vad hon har att vänta. Skumma sjömanskrogar med vilda hemska bovar i. Vilda hemska stormar, arga lejon, hemska ormar. Vilda djur och jävlar, oj 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 så det kan bli. Men här kommer Pippi Långstrump, tjola hopp, tjola hej, tjola hoppsan sa. Här kommer Pippi Långstrump och då går det säkert bra. Komman pirater, mera bomber och granater och fasliga pistoler med krut och kulor i. Komman nu med kanoner och med byssor och patroner och sablar och geväder. För ni får ändå se. För här kommer Pippi Långstrump, tjola hopp, tjola hej, tjola hoppsan sa. Här kommer Pippi Långstrump, ja här kommer faktiskt jag.
Ich lines bound. Wish to speg.
That is one hell of a song, and it tells the pirate thing with guns and sables, and Pippi, the feminist hero, will. I hope somebody can find it with English translation or sung in English, at least the text. This is Astrid Lindgren, the Nazi babe that have destroyed the life of many, many, many poor young girls with her psyop, one of the better psyops out of Mordor. And her best friend, maybe lover, maybe we don't know, is Evil Thord Grey. This is a guy who fought under 13 different flags. He was involved in all wars as a officer or whatever during the early 20th century.
Oh, Christopher Lee?
No, Evil Thord Grey. And he is also the inspiration, the storyteller. He's he's a real sort of a character. So he's the storyteller behind Tarzan. He is the person who gives the story that will inspire to Burroughs. I think I pronounce it correctly, to write the books. He's the one that does the story.
Manifesto.
No. That's a book. That's a fictionary books of Tarzan.
Oh.
You know the guy in the jungle. So it might even be a true story actually, that they find a kid, because he's actively in I think it's in South Africa. He is all over the world, involved in all of the wars. And the most nefarious thing about him is that he is writing the handbook, and you will hear me come back to this sometimes, of trench warfare for the First World War for the British. And this is the most nefarious. It is so crazy what they did that you cannot describe it. It is so crazy. And he's the one that writes the handbook of madness, complete madness, the utterly complete madness of trench warfare. It is so crazy. It is totally crazy. Anyways, that was the pirate song with Pippi Longstocking, in good tradition from a East India Company babe, we could call it, called Fredrika Bremer, which is you could say that, oh, I got echo. Yeah, you could say is that
Mott, I'm sorry, but Tarzan isn't the original one in India.
it might have been, it's Evil Thord Grey. Oh, I got echo. I need to reboot.
You should be fine, Mott. Once Tony's mic is on mute, you're good. Oh wait, no, I hear it.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, Tony, I think you're the one causing the echo. Do you want me to drop you and bring it back up? I'll do that real quick.
Yeah, let's check that out. Yeah, it was Tony. So I can't remember where he got the story right now. I think the article will pop up in the Jumbotron very soon about Evil Thord Grey and Astrid Lindgren. And before Astrid, who is a Nazi, full stop, and working for the deep state, full stop, for the common denominator, full stop. So
Mott,
before,
I was asking
yes,
you about. I was asking you about the original Tarzan. Wasn't that in India?
I don't know where Evil Thord Grey picked that one up. I think it's actually in South Africa, when
Okay.
he is working in the gendarmerie there, in the military style police.
Yes.
So I think it's actually in South Africa. He picks this story up. Then you have, a copy of that story will be Mowgli, and that one is put in India instead. So
Yeah,
you
okay, then thank you.
yeah, and those both of them are epical stories. So some people actually are using, they are like the a modern variant of the old Greek philosophy and so on. So this is epical stories. They are a must for people in their upper echelon, as it says. They are a must to know them inside out, upside down, left, right, center, front and center. Just as the Iliad, the Odyssey, the Nordic mythology,
Republic.
you have to know this. And believe it or not, you can easily see this with Peter Thiel, Elon, and others. They know their Tolkien. They refer to Tolkien quite often.
Thank you, Peter Jackson.
Yeah, Peter Jackson.
And they speak in the language also.
Yeah, that should come in handy, doesn't it, Brian?
Peter
I,
Thiel does,
Yes,
Brian?
yes, they speak. Yes, they speak a language. Yeah.
I would bet you, Putin speaks Swedish, okay? And that's Mordorian. That is not the language that Tolkien has an invented language inside his books, but it's pretty much based on Swedish and Norwegian. So just as the English is actually just Old Norse. And Old Norse is what the Vikings spoke in England, in Great Britain when they took it over. From around
Celtic.
from around 300, the year 300 or so. And you are not wrong, Lily, when you are saying that there were Vikings in Germany and so on, because the Longobards in the year of 14 after Christ, they were making a deal with a infiltrator of the Roman Empire that wanted the knowledge how to bring the Roman Empire down, or at least defend his part of Germany, the northern part of Germany, called Arminius. So he made a deal with the best warriors. He hired them in, the best warriors he could find, and he went to Sweden and got them there and made a deal. And they, in true Viking tradition, they kept going, so to speak, through Europe. And they had a mission. After they were done with the Romans and beat them, the shit out of them in Germany, which they did, they simply went to Italy. It took them a while. They gathered, more people around them with their laws, their religion, their way of living, and they simply took Italy over, except for Rome, and held it between around year 500 to year 800. So that is where Tisha is from. That's why we.
Yeah, Mott. I'm from Germany too. What part of Germany? Northern Germany? Germany
You,
is that?
you are just Viking, straight up.
Straight up Viking.
Tell me about William Tell.
Longobards. You have to check that one out, because that is it's a very important part of history that is hidden in plain sight, because it's not referred to, it's not talked to. So the Pope is sitting there for the popes, many of them, for 500 years, just being grumpy. No, sorry, 300 years. No, 500 years. 500
Three
years.
500 years. They
500
have
years.
kept him
Yeah,
Their
hostage.
comfy little red
and
shoes.
then when they lose it, and they, to Charlemagne, straight after that, you came to the year of, after year 1000, they simply kidnap the Pope, and then you have war popes. This is the Viking. They do it. They take the Pope. They just take him.
That's how we do it, guys.
They just go in and take him, and then you have quite a different popery after that. And
Full stop. That's not how we do it anymore.
Excuse me,
well,
Lily. That's how I do it, sunshine.
yeah, that's how we do it. We go front.
Maybe go past the lizard brain this time.
Yeah,
Excuse me?
yeah, we are going past the lizard brain, Lily. I can tell you that. This is why we're holding this space, and we are telling the saga, the history, the sagas, because those ones will activate the part of your brain that makes you able to use your critical thinking, to do cross tabulations, to actively engage in yourself, to be able to lead others in the future. This was sort of what we started out with talking about, very briefly, very quickly, in this space. This is what we do. And in opposite to many of the other spaces, where you have these smooth talkers, they are knowledgeable, they are everything, they can also tell a story, but they don't tell the true story, because they always, 100% of the time, they miss, intentionally or by ignorance, I don't know, I don't care, they miss the common denominator, and that is Viking.
And
Full
now
stop.
it's a commercial break here. I want to do some commercial for Box Saga. You can find it on YouTube, and it's a very, very good saga to look at. It's in English, and it's a good teller that tells that story. So find it on YouTube. It's many different stories there, but all is about Box Saga. BOCA.
So Box
Commercial.
Saga, the Box Saga for you guys in the listeners here is, you could translate it, if you want to give it a title. Oh my God, honey, they killed Father Christmas, and they stole his logo and put it on the little guy with the mustache. Do you agree, Tony?
Yes, for sure.
That would make a Hollywood movie, wouldn't it? Well, not a Hollywood movie. Sorry, it would make a blockbuster movie from Finland, because the Box Saga is based on Finland. That's deep mythology. It has some twists and turns, but overall, the good sign, the language, all of this, it will tie back into where we are today with all the isms. And there is only really one ism. There is one ism. That's corporatism. All the other isms are consequences of that ism. They are the means of divide and conquer, all of them. There is only one, corporatism. That's it. That's the one that is the nefarious one. The other ones are just tool in the toolbox for the real corporatism, rulers, masters, whatever. The common denominator You will see, you will find out, you will get it. I think many people in the US are getting it now because RFK broke the secret rule and stepped over the limit, and suddenly somebody made a step showing, not telling, showing that there is no left and right. There are humans. We can hear Tucker Carlson talking about this as well. He's traveling around. He's talking with his whole heart about this. You can see that he is wholehearted on this one. He's a very special character. He's actually also Swedish. And there is another Tucker Carlson, which is maybe one of the more influential Hollywood in the early days of Hollywood, forming Hollywood to what it is. He's also called Tucker Carlson. He's actually from Gotland, where they hijacked the boat or the vessel, where they hijacked the Arctic Sea in between Öland and the Öland means island, more or less, and Gotland. So he's from the Gotland, which is the unsinkable carrier in the middle of the Baltic Sea, very strategical there. Visby, the old trade center on that one. The Visby law, the seafarer law from Visby, that is admiralty law as we know it today. And that is why the East India Company is granted by Charles II in 1670, 2 years after the first central bank in the world is formed by the order of Axel Oxenstierna. Delaware, Oxenstierna, the Delaware Grace, that's New Sweden, that's Oxenstierna. The fight in 1776 was against the Oxenstierna doctrine and his white hand, his armed hand, the East India Company. He was not around there, but he's the mastermind behind all of this. Or one of them. He's not totally alone, but almost. He's a one-man global fucking psyop warlord. He conquered Europe. So yeah, you know, and then he implemented a central bank, and he is sort of the founder of, he is accelerating the East India Company with his forming of the military industrial complex. This is early 1700th century. And of course, in the middle of the 16th century, 17th century, he is also the inventor, the creator of the central banking. And the East India Company, what did they get in 1670?
The first central bank.
No, that was 1668, right?
Ma, we can't hear it if you're playing a song.
Matt, you have to talk a
I
little
don't
bit
hear any
louder.
song, Matt.
I could hear a song in the background. You got to
Uh-huh.
put the volume up, maybe.
No.
I can hear myself thinking.
Me too.
But Tisha, so you know, I put
Oh,
the first
you
I
guys
put
are comedians.
movies by the Box Saga in the Purple Pill.
Oh, thank you.
Hell on Earth.
Hell on earth. It sure is hell on earth.
So
Did we
just
lose
to
Mark? We
be,
did. Go ahead, Brian.
until he comes back, just to the listening audience, for our American friends, just so you know, back to the thing that I was mentioning before, and we skipped over. There was a lot that was skipped over. See, if it's funny, they love to run past Africa. They mention it quickly and go away from it. Oh, if they had to stop and talk about the devastations there that they performed. Wow. But Weiner, what I wanted to mention a little bit ago, the Anthony Weiner affairs. So just so everyone knows, does everybody understand now why it was so important to keep that so secret, and that we run right past that and jump right to Epstein and then Diddy and all of this now but the Epstein, they skipped a lot to bring it right to this so that they can tell the story a certain way coming through these events. But I want you all to know there is a lot being left out and being undetailed and not being spoken of, because this is being just like a book written. This is a timely tale, and they're going through a process here. The best thing about their part of it, or this part of it, is the work is being performed. All right. And the terrible part is that those people don't even really get to tell their own stories. They've got ones that come along afterwards and tell the story and write it the way that they want it written, which might not be exactly, it's just the way it is. But that's what we're dealing with right now. But that was important that they skipped Anthony Weiner events and all of so that they could jump right to this and, delve into it. But I promise, listen, just so all of you know, this could have been done long ago. Kennedy was assassinated to stop us from having a fair advantage, an even playing field advantage. Back then, the Germans, all of them, they had already turned to the Nazi, to the machine. But the Nazis, they had already, the book burning event was the establishment of that. Across America here, the book burning event has been going on for about 10 years now. 70 to 75% of the bookstores, etc., things like that, shops are closing up. The data is being converted from paperback book or the physical property into a digital substance. And that's been occurring now. About 65 to 70% of the buildable works around has turned into digital mail, digital buy, digital supplies. So the brick and mortar works are closing up. That's the same process that they went through, and that's to rebuild something else. And the consultants are said that everything's set in an order. They've got a process that they've been going through for a long time to get everything to the local level, maintaining that process.
New Nazi order, Brian. Thank you for explaining. The new Nazi order.
Yes.
Mott, you're playing a song?
No, actually, I was in the East India Company Oxenstierna rant mood. I discovered that I was lost in translation, cyber translation. Boom, went away. So no, I was not playing a song. But anyways, it's very interesting discussion. Thank you, Brian, for that. I've shared also actually Fredrika Bremer from the secretary. I found it. We cannot find our articles. I got a notification that secretary cannot find her articles anymore. They are disappearing or are not searchable anymore. It is crazy days on X actually. So I'm trying to find my my article on Wiener. Which is sort of gone for the moment. I'm sorry about that. I will put it in the Jumbotron. But yeah, I was going for the song, Tish. the new Bombadil song from our dear friend Desperado. If you don't follow him, please do so. And it is a great song. It's called Our Fight Song, and Desperado is doing great work. We have others doing music as well that we are grateful for, and I'm so honored. I'm really honored, truly. So without
Tall, tall, Bombadil, the hero of the feed. For the awake, he plants the seed. With the purple pill, he takes the lead. News delivered, truth guaranteed. Marching through the tweets with power and grace, spreading wisdom. Digital space, Mark Bombadil, a shining face. He says, hey now, join the fight. Look, Bombadil, in the light. From the post to the threads, day and night. Look, Bombadil, shining bright. Every message he sends, a beacon of hope, the awake. He helps us cope. Tales of strength on this digital slope. Mark Bombadil, our guiding rope. With his fearless heart and his voice so clear, Mark Bombadil, always near. In the world of X, he's the pioneer, feeding the purple pill like no one else. He says, hey now, join the fight. Look, Bombadil, in the light. From the post to the threads, day and night. Look, Bombadil, shining bright. Every message he sends, a beacon of hope for the awake. He helps us cope. Tales of strength on this digital slope. Mark Bombadil, our guiding rope. With his fearless heart and voice so clear, Bombadil, always near. In the world of X, he's the pioneer, feeding the purple pill like no one else. Bombadil, like no one else. With his fearless heart and his voice so clear, Bombadil, always near.
Thank you, Desperado.
Desperado is our guy. It's impressive. I have to say, I cannot find my own article on Anthony Weiner. It is.
I might have it. Let me take a look. Peter, your hand is up. Go ahead, hon.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe somebody can call Anthony and ask. Well, I was thinking
he has to lie next to Eva to Jurfer in the graveyard. Let's call them up.
no. Exactly.
They might be looking down at us, don't you think, or looking up? I don't know where you guys ended up, but
right, we'd be summoning the wiener.
Exactly.
Summoning the winner.
Yeah, then we are on Operation Falukorv, aren't we? Which is like for most Americans, they know about paperclip. That's just a tiny part of it coming down the road. It all started long time ago, in the early 70s.
Matt, sorry for interrupting. I was thinking about, because I always enjoy it, and I think other people should know also, the accounting way that the
You're
East
rubber
India
banding like
Company,
hell,
how
Mott.
they
That's Peter.
okay, Matt, do you hear me?
You're
Yes,
clear,
now
Peter.
Yeah, I can hear you,
you're clear.
Peter.
It's Tony that has connection problems, I guess.
Okay. Well, I'm thinking if you can tell the audience about the accounting methods of the East Indian Company, because I think it's very interesting with this, what they had before, what they did with the papers when they sort of have, I don't know what is in
You
English.
mean the Swedish East India Company, because
Yeah, the Swedish, exactly.
which is and it changes a little bit of name and so on and so forth, to be that's the one that is longest operational. The Chinese government are in 1947. The Chinese government are visiting Sweden. The state secretary, corresponding to state secretary, foreign minister, combined role I think he had at that point in time, Mr. Undén. They are visiting him and say, you stop with the opium trade now to the Swedes. And the Swedes are forced to do it. The Swedish government have to take the blame. This is again like the CIA and the BND has to take the blame for the Cry AG or the Crypto AG scandal. This is the same thing again. So one interesting part of the Swedish part of the East India Company is that they burn the books every year. So the national historians back in the day, some like in the early 1900s, no, even in the 1940s, 50s, something like that. Mr. Heschner was his name. He say, we can never write the history about the Swedish East India Company because it cannot be written. That's the Swedish national historian. They actually burnt the books every year. And allegedly, or the claim is that, well, we had some Scottish the part owners, and we had to hide that because somebody in Scotland or in the UK would be mad at them. It's so fucking silly. But anyways, so that's the Swedish East India Company. And just to make it, so we get it, you all heard me talking about Baku, the Nobel family inventing, as in the moment of death prize, inventing, Ludwig Nobel inventing the oil tanker and so on, the first ones. The merchant fleet of the north of the Scandinavian combined, which is more or less same owner, proxies, alliances, whatever, largest motorized, the best, biggest merchant fleet in the world at the turning point of 1900th century into 20th century. And they stick with that position for a long, long time. So at least until after World War II. So who is benefiting the most from the creation of Israel and a lasting conflict in that area where we in the First World War blow up, but in the first, sorry for the where the railroad that was built, almost ready, going down to, to connect the African continent to the European continent, which should be, it was the plans, the vision of the Ottoman emperor to do that. That one was blown up to pieces, the very first thing in the World War I. And who was benefiting from that? Well, the oligarchs all over, the seafarers, the pirates of the sea, so to speak, even if the cargo were more moving the natural resources, the financial pirates, we could call them these days, because the piracy as such is, it's not that lucrative business anymore in that perspective. So they are the beneficiaries of this. And of course, the largest merchant fleet will be beneficial of the non-creation of the railroad and the eternal conflict in that area. And there still is no railroad, though the Silk Road, the Belt and Road, and what the Russians, the Chinese, and the East countries, many of them, big ones, small ones, are doing. So nowadays they are connected, and the trains are running. I've written quite a few articles on that as well. You can find it on my timeline. You have to search for trains or whatever. As I said, my X account is not searchable for me anymore, which is very frustrating. So the root cause, the fundament of what we have today, what we see today, started with the First World War and the Zionist deal with the Nazis, and the Nazis coming from Astrid Lindgren, Pippi Longstocking, whatever, from the common denominator of Mordor. So they are the beneficiaries of this. Just follow the money. People say, follow the money, follow the money. Yeah, okay, I'm telling you this. Follow that money. Follow the big money. Follow the natural resources flow and so on. So that is the deal in the Mid-East right now. And I think that Iran is playing this smart now with advice from China, Russia, the other BRICS countries, and so on. I don't know the outcome. I'm waiting for Turkey to step in. And hopefully that will sort of, spare civil losses. Quite an interesting attack with ballistic missiles and so on from Iran. A Palestinian guy got shrapnel, scrabble from one intercepted rocket. So one civil casualty on that pretty heavy fireworks that we saw yesterday, the day before yesterday, evening here, Mordor time, morning your time. So, late afternoon, your time. So, depending on where you are, US is a big country, but it's just a few time zones compared to Russia, which is 11 or 13, depending on how you count. Talking about natural resources and long-lasting urge for those from the oligarchs of the West. With that said, I think we have concluded the Arctic Sea. We know that the Black Swan is a possible one. We also got into our knowledge base that the East India Company were pirates. Privateer, private military company, and they hijacked. I think the number is, as far as I can reckon, this is a little dodgy. Hopefully somebody will pop up in these spaces that have the true goods on this, because this is mentioned briefly in some of the reading that I've done, but approximately 300 merchant ships from the US is hacked and taken in custody, so to speak, by the East India Company. And this is trade ships. They are not at war. So this is a trade war. The 1776 is a trade war. It's a war for the people, to the people, by the people, to against the corporatism, against the evil corporatism that will steal the food on your plate if they need to. And they did back in the day. They did. Nowadays, it's a little bit more complicated, but you can see right now the supply chains, the harbors, the docks, the ports, the nefarious things going on. My thoughts and prayers for you guys over there, because this can get ugly for a while. I'm pretty sure about that. So let's cross our fingers.
Well, Mott, I just want to add the people of North Carolina have really stepped up, and it's even more refreshing for me to see are the people speaking up about the people stepping up for North Carolina. So prayers and thoughts for them during this current time. Also, all of the other events that have happened with the people of North Carolina as well.
I would love, since Brian is South Carolina, but his Carolina is all about.
Lindsay too.
I'm North Carolina.
Oh, you are North.
Yes. Yes, I'm North Carolina, and actually, I worked actively on a response team for about 10 years, and I used to go volunteer with the Pentecostal Holiness Church. The Pentecostal Holiness Church has a nationwide and international help fund, and we also have a disaster relief fund. Trust me, North Carolina's, we are not suffering. We've had a hard loss. That don't mean that we won't recover. We have some very capable people here. I'm not on that particular response team, but I worked on the response team with the Pentecostal church here and the International Pentecostal Church, the Pentecostal church right across the line in South Carolina also. I know them well. I know the entire South Carolina conference, as a matter of fact. My father-in-law was one of their preachers. I was also a minister for a time, and I also know many of them. So the response from North Carolina is what I expected, and we have very good people here. So yeah, I'll stop there. But yeah, I don't worry as much about us. I do worry about the direction that some of our things are going, but we're very, very well prepared in North Carolina for even disaster, and we have an excellent response time. We have a very I work with the surrounding communities in my area, with the rescue volunteer fire departments, because none of ours are paid. We have all volunteer fire departments in all of our counties here. So, we do step up. We do something, just because we don't do everything that they say they call stepping up to do something. So, yeah.
What was it? $750 for each family, Brian?
Well, that's what the Biden administration, the Harris administration, decided to do for them, which is sad. And
I agree.
North Carolina will do better than that for our people. But we've got some controversies coming up that we're also going to face with them too. Some of the deals that they've made, because I don't want to see the loss of an entire town and people for the sake of a damn mine or upcoming projects. I would hate to know that those people I don't want to know that my family, my people, our people here in North Carolina, that there's a little town there that had no idea they just got evicted. Do you understand what I'm saying? They didn't have any idea that they just got evicted, and they're going to find out. So yeah,
Thank you, Brian.
yeah.
You do for the people there and everybody who is helping you out, because this is wonderful to hear. Because I thought it was really disasterful there now, but
No,
you
it
make
is. It is, Tony. It's a disaster. Yeah, it's a total loss.
okay.
Oh, isn't it
Well,
roads and whole towns are kind of wiped out, Bry?
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's 100 miles of damage, from my
Right,
understanding.
right.
Yeah.
You know, if you need one air rescue guy, you have always me. I will come and help you out, because this is not okay with for all the people who lives there.
It's very kind of you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony. Appreciate it, man. I know that everybody's we're not foolish. You know, we are very smart.
Oh,
There's a lot of radicals in our nation, but we are very smart people, and we do know it's not the entire world. We're not angry at the rest of the nations or the other nations or y'all or no, we're angry at these governments. You know, they do a lot behind our backs that we wouldn't allow otherwise. So
it makes my heart bleed for you, Brian, and your people there, because this is awful and it's dreadful. I couldn't say it better than that.
Yeah, I think we all agree. Wasn't it the worst ever in the Carolinas? I mean, the mountains. The people on the mountains were losing their homes.
I've heard
Unbelievable.
that they're already chalking it up to be worse than Katrina.
Wow, that's bad, really bad.
I don't know if you've heard differently, Brian, but that's what they're in comparison of.
yeah, that's basically what I heard. They're still assessing. I mean, it'll take a while. The location is everything, people. It's not as broad of an area, wide range like Katrina was. I think we're guesstimating the damage path and the guesstimated cost of it. You know, so yeah, to represent it about as like Katrina. I worked those storms actually, John. I worked across Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas. Um, I seen piles of debris as big as houses, man. Big, I mean, a big house, not a little tiny house. I seen anyway. Yeah, but
Is there a lot of livestock there?
yes, ma'am. We have a lot of cattle, and what cattle we have left. We have struggled to keep our. We have a lot of farmland. We got a lot of cattle farmers, cow farmers, hog farmers, chicken farmers, and etc. And they're coming on us hard and heavy. We've had two bad floods with the past couple of hurricanes, Matthew and Florence. You know, previously in the past, I think 8 years that we were hit 2 years in a row back to back, or it was in a 4 year period. We were hit with Matthew and then Florence. But the floods came here, and they finally got the level of water back down, and they cleaned out a lot of the canals and the spillways and the runoffs for the rivers to be able, cleaning up the damage. Well, that backed up also in some other areas. And I think that they knew exactly what they were doing, letting the consultants of the towns and the cities, etc., turn their heads in certain areas. And with that dam, they knew that enough pressure, it wouldn't take much. That's the first time they've seen a hurricane go through there ever. And Tennessee's been experiencing some devastating tornadoes here in the past few years that Tennessee has never seen before. So they're hitting them hard because of their non-compliance. And through these areas, the development plans that they've got coming up, we didn't get to vote on none of that shit. That we have no idea what all they're about to do actually, and a lot of people are fixing to find out because of these events. So
Is it Lindsay that's the senator?
yeah, for South Carolina. Yeah. Here's Ted Budd, North Carolina. Yeah.
I think it's a
They
testament, though, too, Brian, that you highlighted before of the resilience of the people, and I think that's just good to hear, right? And reiterate the fact that this is why it's so incredibly important to not only bring things local, because when it comes down to it, when I'm not even going to call it a natural disaster because there's nothing natural about this. It was an event that occurred that affected people's lives, and banding together, binding together, and the community stepping up. I mean, this is something that could be the easiest template to do in the form of just real life. There's nothing easier than just reaching out to your local community, and there's power in that, big time.
You're absolutely right. Thank you for that. We, just in case y'all don't know, the world better wake up if they don't, or the United States anyway. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Virginia, the states right here around us. I'm in Tennessee. We are mostly military and corporate class type. We have a lot of poor people, yeah, lower class people. We're considered the poor. We're not, I mean, we're now reaching a $2 billion budget a year. We have an increasing budget climbing $558 million year over year, represented by each county. Okay. I know my state and our counties very well, and the surrounding states and counties. I know them all. I travel them, and, I've worked through them a lot, but to keep it right here around this, yeah, we are heavy military and corporate and construction class. So,
What's the main demographic?
we train a lot. The main demographic would be mostly construction and textile. A lot of that's been exported, taken away from us. We've gained heavily, badly in the tech and research and medical industry. Triangle Research Park. Okay, so the triangle method would be Charlotte, Greensboro, Raleigh. There's a big triangulation, but we also have Research Park right out of the tri-regional area of Raleigh and where I'm at around these areas. But the trifecta of it is they have a triangulated position from out of Virginia here, and we work heavily together with them, and they do with us, our Navy and our Marine Corps. Or I have family in both, and me myself. But yeah, they work heavily coordinated well together. We work under Black Sky. If you don't know that, you can look them up. That's Virginia Tech, and CGI also incorporated is out of Virginia, Fairfax. And I could tell you a lot about it. North Carolina, we're not slow at it. We're just quiet. We've learned to keep our place and keep our mouths shut about a lot of things. We're not a evil people, but we are coming alive. We have trained a lot of talent here out of North Carolina, out of our universities. Duke University is the #1 medical cardiac of the nation, one of them. It's the 3 largest medical states, or Houston, Florida, and I want to say UCLA. It's one of the big colleges, but in any case, Triangle Research Park does a lot for those institutions. And right here, North Carolina does Tar Heel. So anybody that wants to look into that or anything that's fine. It's all public. You can look it up. They tracked COVID here by the water, parts per million. It's not good. I mean, they know we know everything. That's Oliver Anthony was right in his song, about Virginian. I mean, I'd sing it for you, but That's not bullshit. All right, and we're a California that you've never seen. We're just not the same as California. We're actually good people, decent people. They've just been blinded. They're after the children just as hard here too. They think everything that they're doing is to protect them. So to monitor them and get them in cybersecurity, to draft them into the school programs for security, and to monitor our areas very heavily. Yes, they're monitoring the high schools even heavier now for the teacher and child interaction, etc. It's a terrifying time, and we're trying to move forward with that. And people don't know how deceitful other people can be. We're trying with each other, right? And give each other a chance. People really don't know each other. I'm just going to say that. Mott, you ought to testify the damn truth to that. And I wish you men would talk like real men, because we don't really know each other and our endeavors and what we seek to do. So that needs to be cautioned. These people are playing with fire, and you know it, trying to be so frivolous and open, and this is just calm and cool. And well, not everybody agrees. We're not all in this together. I'm going to shut up now and fade away, turn off. I'm sorry, but that needs to be considered, and we need to move forward with caution, from here on out. I think geopolitical, the next 100 years pose to be the strongest risk to us now with these new measures going forward. Yeah.
Well, we're not supposed to be really putting our faith in man either, Brian, and that needs to be said too. So, the layers and the elements that we're facing, I mean, this is where the spiritual warfare comes in. And it's as simple as that. I mean, it's, put it as plain as good versus evil. But when it comes down to it, I mean, spiritual forces we're up against, it's a silver snake, right? And if you pick it up, it's still a snake. Be careful, watch out.
Absolutely. Brian, is there someone collecting money for North and South Carolina? Because they're asking us to donate, and I don't want to give to the Red Cross, that's for sure.
It's from my understanding, Franklin Graham's son, or Mr. Graham, has put forward right here in Boone. I can't remember the name of it right off. There's a few people that are putting out some posts about it, and a few of the others from North know more about it. I haven't checked into it yet. I've been a little busy, but they've got some kind of a purse open, and yes, there are ways to donate. So I wish I had more information than that in that area, but sorry. Yeah.
No, that's good. Good to know. My sister's in South Carolina, and they woke up to trees uprooted and all over the property. It was terrible. They didn't get much rain, but just the trees alone from the wind, a lot of damage. A lot of damage.
Well, I think it goes to say too that sometimes just knowing who and what, it's okay to be careful, and look into it. Unfortunately, it's sad to even have to bring that up, but when it comes to like the Red Cross or different organizations, I mean, you have to be aware of where that effort is being, put forth to. Sometimes it's just better connecting with the people. You can become local from afar. You can become, involved in efforts. Just the chain of communication is so powerful too. And, just reaching out to somebody in a local area or whatever and informing them of what you've heard or what you've seen, just so they're aware. It helps the channels of communication a lot as well. And you can get funds directly to people, or you can get, certain smaller form efforts that are done as well. It's not so much just what is the fastest, I guess, if that makes sense. I'm not trying to make this anything bigger, but just be careful with some of the organizations because once again, then you have a controlling arm, and you don't know where that money's going necessarily.
Stephen or Stefan?
Good evening.
Good
I
evening.
have sent DM to Mott. He can read, and Brian, and he has disappeared now. Specifically, I want to hear from Brian, who's living there. It's a video. If you, Mott, can play it up. I have serious question if it is how he says in the video about this storm and everything. Doc
Brian's
strike.
back. Brian, did you hear
Mm.
that?
I don't
No, I
think.
didn't. Sorry, it booted me. My apology. I had to reset and
Yeah,
come back. Yeah.
Brian, you don't have an open DM books. I send a video for you. You shared Tisha's space, and under you have a video from me. But I think Mott, if he can answer, look his DM and play it up in the space.
I can
Maybe.
do. Is it a video from the disrespected trucker? Correct.
Yeah, I think so. Yes, it's. I should look.
Wait. I think I have it. I
The
think I
rubber
have
duck.
it. It was sent to me in the deep. Just a moment. I'm fixing to post it up to the space talk right now to the jumbotron. It's going there. It was somebody tagged me in it, and it was posted, so I'm able to post it. So it should be coming to the jumbotron
Exactly.
any moment.
Yes. Mm. It's from the rubber duck Mott. Your latest for me.
Thank you. I'll definitely check it out. I was listening to a little bit of it as I was trying to reconnect. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
it's
you.
so much about.
I'm getting it.
It's so
It's
much.
getting a lot better about the response. It's getting a lot better about the response time here, and I've been tagging Elon Musk a little bit. I want better stability.
Mm,
This is very important, and this is bullshit if we can't communicate. So, good job.
mm. Yeah, it's a lot with this storm and this strike and everything. It's so much hidden and so much have come out. So I just wonder what he says about the laws and everything. Is this true? This
Yes, it is.
power change.
Yes, actually, it is true, and I'm looking into some of those too. But thank you for posting. Yeah, we're looking into a lot of it. From the worst thing about now, and I'd love to hear from Mark too about this. The worst thing about now, the time that we're living in, and the events that they're pulling off, is we've got a short window here between now and the censorship because everything based on the 70-year and 50-year time frame of disclosability and the releasability of information, they're trying to get us into the position, where information they can cut it off. So this is a
Ring in.
very important
Everybody's
time.
freaking out.
So that he says it's
I'm uploaded, ready to rock and roll. So I'm
okay.
not heard because I need, I cannot be everywhere at the same time. But I know Rubber Duck, and well, I don't know him personally, but I've seen him on X, and he seems to be legit. So this is 6 minutes from Rubber Duck with regards of. Well, the storm and so on and so forth. So we just run it from so the listeners can join in on this one. So without further ado, and Brian, sharpen your ears as good as possible. Here we go.
out about the whole longshoreman strike and all this other stuff. And I want to give you my opinion. So here's what's really what I believe is going on, and everything basically lines up to this. The ports that we have right now are U.S. ports. They didn't become U.S. ports until after the War of 1812. In the treaty from the War of 1812, U.S. American ports were made U.S. ports. And shipping, international shipping, right, international maritime commerce, would not go to American ports anymore. So those ports have inherently been dismantled since America lost the War of 1812. Okay, and you can say, I know what your textbook said, that's a lie. You can go to Fort McHenry and literally read about how, like, America lost the War of 1812. So, with the American national flag that flies above Fort McHenry. So, what happened is after the War of 1812, there was a systematic dismantling of the American Republic. It happened over decades, centuries, okay? And ultimately in 1964, when the Reconstruction Trust expired, the American Republic went dormant. The NATO became the security agency for all of North America because there's no domestic trust, there's only foreign policy and foreign trusts. What's happened is in August of 2023, a domestic American People's Common Trust was delivered to the United States Marine Corps and the United States Navy, or the United States Army, summoning them to return to the American people, the indigenous, who are now called indigenous in world trade, international trade, summoning them to the ministry of the American Republic so that the Marine Corps could take their original American Continental Marine position to guard the American Continental Congress, and the American regular army to assume its advocate marshal general roles for law courts and equity courts, and to bring the USMCA treaty that was enacted in July of 2020 back to America, the Republic. So the U.S. ports, the Navy, is who has to move these assets, because the Navy is in charge of the civil law, civil personnel, so they're in charge of the transfer from foreign to domestic, now that there's a domestic trust. The Army, the Navy, and the Marine Corps are all in possession of the American People's Common Trust. They are moving the assets and reactivating the original Declaration of Independence and American Constitution trusts that include the Bill of Rights, so they can then open those courts and open those systems. But the Navy has to take control with the Coast Guard of American ports. That's why you're not hearing the agreements for the longshoremen were not between the International Longshoremen's Association and the U.S. Maritime. Well, the U.S. Maritime is out because under USMCA, this becomes an international American issue, not a United States Article I Congress issue, removing the federal government and NATO's jurisdiction over U.S. ports that will now be American ports. And if you refer to the Treaty of 1812, it was specific in that treaty that ships conducting admiralty or maritime law across the high seas were not allowed to use American ports. They were only allowed to use U.S. ports. So that is being returned back to American ports by the Navy to bring the Army and the Marines back on to the land of America, to the people of America and the inhabitants of America per the Liberty Bell, and reset and separating the people from their subjugation under the US Congress and their federated corporate states. So I hope this explains. Please share, because I get censored all the time. This is my opinion. I know where the trust came from. I know who wrote the trust. I've read the trust. I've seen the trust. I know what the trust is, and I know exactly the dates that it was delivered and exactly where it went and exactly how it got there. So I have participated in this process of delivery and the correspondence between the military and the American people. So share, believe it or not, I don't know, but ever since the trust has been delivered, you've seen an increase in opening up bases. Marine bases are opening up, both in Palau and in North Carolina. You've seen increases in National Guard stuff. These are all things that are American, not U.S. So I hope that helps. And everything's going to be fine. This is the way it's supposed to work. And this is how it's a exchange of power, moving it back to its proper positions. So God bless, Godspeed, and hold fast.
Thank you for playing that.
Oh,
That
Thank
was
you, Stefan. Thank-
yeah. Hold on. Pause, guys. Hold. He did say some important things, and I sadly, I think very positively in our favor, but not in our favor. I think he's right, and I think I'm right. Because you see, the problem we have here is they've positioned everything into this moment with this strike. Why? And what was the big push in the rush? Watch this magically appear. Watch this magically appear. They went from an international New York stock exchange to they moved the exact same thing and made it a national security exchange. That is not good. It won't take long for BlackRock and the rest of the asset class to own America, and America won't be that anymore. Son, it's fixing to be chopped the fuck up. That's not a joke. We're going to look like a box of crayons real soon because the companies and corporations are about to compete with each other. Now we're going to see heavy lift and different things take off, and green energy is coming in. No, they pushed the NAFTA and TAFTA agreements. They saw all of this coming with the ports here way ahead of time. They fast tracked the fucking process. Now you listen to me. They pushed all the corporations out that would be taxed the heaviest for being here now at this time that they could capitalize on. And everything that's built from here on out here, we're not going to fucking profit from at all. BRICS will. Now you understand that because they're bringing in the German and Asian companies and people here to do the mining and build the technology and since they've now opened up a new semiconductor package for America, friend. That's not good. Okay. These are not good things, regardless of what anybody tries to make this out to be. We just became not only a target,
Brian. Let me slow you down a little bit here. So I hear what you're saying loud and clear, and that would be extremely problematic if only that wasn't thought about, right? So we have to think about this in the matter of stages to put.
I've thought about it. They've already pushed it. They're going to need 10 times the power. They're delivering the white papers now, John. I'm reading through them and everything. They're fixing, it's what the position of ChatGPT-4 now, the cost of it to move up is upwards $3-4 trillion damn dollars, John. By the time they get to 10, the evaluations have already come out for AI concerning what some of the investor companies like Arc have put out concerning how much data and the technology will cost here going up to the next level to stay ahead of the competition. You have the going up to 3 times the power mass. We won't be able to afford 10 times the damn data processing. They'll eat us, John.
I hear you, but hang on a second, okay? Because that is a lot of I don't want to say that it isn't something that anybody shouldn't be aware of. It is, but I want to get to the point of, okay, if this was the scenario, because a lot of arrests are being and have been conducted over the last 2 weeks, right, and prior. So we're at a point in time where it had to be so refined, so perfected, like to a point of, like the chess game sort of thing, right? But now the act had to be accomplished. And it was the only way, in a sense, to have the crimes be conducted without any sort of lack of transparency in who did it and when, right? So now imagine so the greatest transfer of wealth of all time already took place, okay? And that didn't happen in 2008, 2009. It actually happened during COVID. You have the pharmaceutical companies, you have BlackRock, you have, Google, that sort of thing take over. Well, I'm not saying COVID was allowed to happen, but COVID happened, and a lot of things were prevented in the best possible way. With unfortunately, and my heart breaks every single moment that the people involved, like Lindsay, aren't getting relief, right? But here's the thing: they were caught in the act as well, and so then the hammer came down, and now these companies, these organizers, these organizations have been caught in the act. So now it's like, who's running to the hills now, right? And who's not going to make it out of the caves, is my point. So now we're in a revelation sort of element here where, we have to rise each other up in the way that's important, make sure our bases are stable, our foundations, right? Rise each other up, help each other. This is where man to man, woman to man, so on and so forth come together. And this is how we move forward, because it is incumbent upon us as the people now, because we are back in control, right, of our own lives and our realities. But we have to be aware of these things. So I'm just saying that out loud because it's a scenario where we have to take back control, and we can't allow consent, even unbeknownst. And, even if it sounds hokey, we have to take all preventative measures to make sure that we're protecting ourselves and our family first and foremost. That's ground zero at our own homes. And then, once again, kind of going out to the county aspect of things. So, we're not going to, America's not a part of BRICS. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not. I don't care what the U.S. Element of things says. Once again, that's an international commercial construct that was a loophole for control and power internationally. That's no more. That's all done. It ended. I put a post in the Purple Pill too, and that's important because if anybody knows Carolina and Doc Pete Chambers, they are former military. Carolina's involved with the Military Accountability Project. Doc Pete Chambers is very actively involved in a lot of different efforts as well. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
John and Brian, the fundamentals here, we need to get to the fundamentals. So if more than half, even 60%, I think it is, doesn't really matter, of ever printed or created these days, created digital and or printed, really matter, dollars are done these last few years. The shift of wealth has been going on for a long time, since Bretton Woods.
even before that, but the large shift comes after Bretton Woods, and of course accelerating by leaving the gold standard in early 1970s. So with respect of that, and that debt saturation is upon us in a large way, the thesis from Rubduck seems to be quite good, actually. One could translate NATO into the common denominator, or
What he said, yes,
or whatever, if you wanted to
yes. What he said about
another
NATO.
dimension on it. Because as far as I see it, in the depth of the Admiralty/Maritime law, where it is rooted, how it traveled to the East India Company/the military industrial complex during early 1700s, and with the creation of the first central bank, and then of course the second one in the city of London, the Bank of England in 1694, coming, the whole points are there. We have Oxenstierna, we have the central bank, we have the ability for the East India Company to make banks and mint money.
Wait.
This
Wait.
come
I'm
down.
gonna pause you.
Hang on. I'm referring to the rubber duck thing now, so let me get onto it. And this will come on to the tariffs, and this is why I am saying repeatedly, and I will keep on doing that the war, the 1776, was against the East India Company. And what Rubber Duck is doing here is that he is saying the same thing.
And Mott, the other.
He is.
Go ahead,
Wait.
Brian.
Hold on. Pause. NATO. But NATO. Okay. NATO. He was right about NATO.
Yeah.
He was wait. He was right about NATO, and I was right about NATO. Now walk back Vladimir Putin's damn statement, sir, because he said openly to Tucker Carlson that the moves that they performed right before that interview and here in the past few years, he said they crippled NATO and everything that America was going to become, what it was doing. He said they'll never recover from that. Okay, walk that statement back, because
Did he
that's
say
not
America?
bullshit.
Did he specifically say America?
The United States,
exactly.
right here where we're at,
right.
John. Don't pull the wordsmith game. No, right here where we're at. He said this.
Listen to me. This
place where we're at.
I know that is important in context. It's not a wordsmith game I'm playing. I'm calling out the game that they've played. Now, when he said specifically in reference to the Congress, when was that corporate state Congress installed? It was installed during Lincoln's presidency, because Lincoln was not only the first installed bar attorney, but he was the first president of the corporate state, the new faction. The Congress that's installed in the U.S. government is not our Continental Congress. Get it? So what he's talking about there is the actual reorganization, which has never left. It was just, quote, abandoned according to the United Nations, right? But we were still here. The American people, the land and soil is still relevant. Now, because Spain wanted to chop it up and get their neck in the mix, right, along with the military-industrial complex, and claim part of our land and soil together, collaboration, and then the land of the people, this is, you can put your thumbs down all you want, but it's the truth. It's what happened, okay? So corporate installment via Lincoln, and then our Continental Congress is gone. So that is the effort that was being reorganized. And
you got Falukorv, John. You got Operation Falukorv. That is Oxenstierna, Stockholm's bureaucracy in the doings. What you described, it's straight up. That's how to do it.
Right.
And then
And
you know the government to be the overreaching arm of the corporatism's masters. Yeah, I agree with Rubber Duck. Maybe I would put it a little bit differently, you know, giving a little bit more context to it. The NATO, I'm irritated at the you know, using just, but he's talking to many people, so he will not go into depth of it. But otherwise, yeah, I think he's on the money. So to speak.
And Mott, another faction too that we have to think about. Just this is something that, regardless.
John. Besides that, I don't know what he's telling is the true story of what the military is doing. I cannot know that, but as of the context where he speaks in, he's factually correct on that. Otherwise, I cannot know if the of the military is based upon what he says is a good effort, a try to reinstall more or less the Constitution. To just summarize it very quickly, to go to the Constitution. This is what he's saying. But so if you put that together with what you all guys know about, well, we just give it a working name. The working name is Operation Follow Curve, or the common denominator. Then you have a pretty good picture of what have occurred since, let's just start at 1776. And do remember the first statesman that recognized the United States of America back then. And he was, of course, killed, just like Kennedy.
I think what's trying to be said is the ports have already been sold again, and we've already lost them. The automation is going to move forward. Basically, we lost them without even knowing it. So I was right.
Well, yeah,
right.
but is that the
right.
question is that past tense or present? That's the biggest thing. See, because a lot of times, well, not a lot of times, what has happened throughout time is the fact that all of this information was done without our knowledge or consent of anything. A lot of automation has already occurred. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's one of the things I did when I was engineering. It was automation. This was years and years and years ago. You mean to tell me that automation wasn't a part of this? No. So what I really want to highlight, though, is this. It's important to grasp the fact that the states, okay, we're talking about the states. And I hear what you said about the statesman element, Mott. And that is important, okay, because we have to be careful with the names that we attach to ourselves. So a self-governing man or woman makes up the state. And, you know, we have to recognize that a democracy and a republic are different. Okay. And even though there may be a Republican in the ticket or a Democrat in the ticket, it's part of a democracy. It's not the republic, not constitutional republic, but a republic to which it stands. So the nation is made up of the states, which are formed by the self-governing people. So it's really important at this moment in time that we learn to govern ourselves.
Just to make it clear for the listeners, John, when you hear somebody, 99 out of 100, using the word democracy, if it is a big account, if it is, you know, the mainstream media or whoever that have gone to any of the Ivy League university, with a few exceptions, of course, there is always a few exceptions. There are some good people coming out of the oligarchy factory of servants. But anyways, when you hear them, according to what I said, these kind of people, these individuals, which has a responsibility towards themselves, at least, and maybe towards many others, many followers, large responsibility. When they use the word democracy, they mean the rules-based world order definition of democracy, which is very, very, very far from the origins of it. And it has, as John, you are saying, it has nothing, and I mean zero, nada, nothing at all to do with a republic, a constitutional republic, as the best document against Axel Oxenstierna ever written, against his doctrine, against his central banking system, against his nefarious thinking, and he, of course, handed over to the typical people that will, run further, keep the baton handed over, and be the common denominator in this game that they are playing. So the Constitution is the best document ever written against the oligarchy, as the founding fathers saw it there and then. And it still holds. And the tech side of it, AI, all the technical stuff, all tech, you can just forget about it, don't care about it. It doesn't have any impact at all, because tech and technology, whatever, will only, and I mean only, be used by the one that holds the handle of that knife. So
And we can't forget about the Bill of Rights, because the reason why is this: the Bill of Rights and the Constitution go hand in hand. The people of the country and the states that work in the forms of a public service are bound by contract to the Constitution. Okay, not the people. The Bill of Rights is for the people that stand on the public law, right, to use and enforce the Constitution, which is the contract for them, right? And that is our two-line defense of using both together, right? So the people use the Bill of Rights as their element of, attainder. It's like a bill of attainder. It's like a bill of sale that if they, cross these lines, that's why it's important to self-govern, because it was a template of sorts too, right? Like we can take that and we can use that and make sure that they aren't crossing the line to get to where we are today, right? And, it's just so important to make that distinction, because they're contractually bound. And that's the biggest thing with an oath of office, because if they don't have one, what does that mean? Are they really playing for the right side, the right team? What are they doing there? Like, aren't they bound by the Constitution and contract, by their oath sworn in office? Well, if they don't have one, what is that telling us? So now it's become upon the people to remove them from office.
indeed so. We are approaching the hour. We are at 01:17, Tish. I know that the listeners have to be tired now. It's hard time to grasp all of this information. Very interesting. We thank you, Stefan, for the contribution with Mr. Rubberduck. Very interesting. I will put one video up on top and combine that with what Mr. Rubberduck actually is saying. And you can, of course, do this at any time. I will put it both in the Jumbotron and the Purple Pill. If I find it. Oh, we're here again. Well, I do a new upload. I still have the video.
So, Tish, my dear host, secretary, John, let's wrap this mother up. Because we're gonna finish with of course with the Desperado OG song. I'm just gonna see to it that I get the video uploaded first here. So HBO, famous last words, and we got Halper Hayes as well. If
She dropped out. Dr. Jan dropped out.
she got the message.
Great space, guys. The storm is here.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
guys.
Likewise, thank everybody. I appreciate you all immensely. And Tony, thank you. Also, I piggyback on the sentiment for reaching out. That humbles me greatly. There's only so much we can do, face to face, hand to hand, but it takes us coming together as people and seeing when someone else is in need. So greatly, greatly appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you, Brian. I appreciate you, man. I know we have our back and forth sometimes, but I'm telling you, I greatly appreciate you as well.
I thank everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. I'm sorry, Tony. Go ahead, Tony.
Thank you. I want to thank everybody here who is working hard as hell, and I'm really appreciating what you're doing for the other people,
Thank you, sir.
for every people I meet.
God bless. We reconvene every Thursday, 4:15 Eastern Standard. I hope to see you next week. You're going to close us out with a song, Mott?
Yes, I am. I need some time to upload the other video for there's a 3-minute video which is we call it the crash course on the central banking and Operation Follow. And I was wrong before with, I need to do a disclaimer here. It's not Anthony Weiner, it's Norbert Weiner. And I think Secretary found the article and put it up in the Jumbotron. So please excuse me for.
Yeah, but Matt, it was a winner either way.
Yeah, it is Operation Follow. Follow is a sausage, which is it's quite strange with the symbolics, but we just leave it at that. It doesn't.
I
Really
think
matter.
they have one erected in the White House backyard as well.
It would not surprise me. See, if you please, listeners, go in and bookmark that one. You will see that talking about the White House, you will see a very odd moment in history, which is also a connection. You will see the former vice president, CEO of the common denominator, one of the common denominator companies. You will see him standing on the White House lawn when he ends up being in the BP, the British Petroleum, which goes straight to Iran. Winston Churchill, nefarious activity. Gandhi's handler, the girl from the, I forgot that name again. I will look it up. The daughter of the guys, one of the guys together with Winston was doing the Iranian thing back prior to the World War I, and doing the oil thing there together with his daughter will be the handler of Gandhi, and Gandhi is not what you think at all. He's on a bad boy side, so to speak. So you will further down the line in history when we are coming to that. Anyways, that is. We could maybe we should do that on Thursday. That would be a great idea. Walk through Gandhi's story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that would transition into a lot of the other elements that we've seen too. You know, like some of the nonprofit, so to say, right? The NGOs and things like that. Also, one thing I want to add about the Washington. Oh, I'm sorry.
Price, of course. Yeah. It will connect. It will connect Cecil Rhodes, diamonds, Israel, India, Bofors affair, weapons, guns, Gandhi family, Palme family, you know, Palme Dutt. It's a yeah, Jan Smuts, correct.
Hey, Matt, real quick, I want to add too with the
Slade.
Washington Monument. Remember when the RNC convention was going on and the firework display, that was the same convention with Melania, green dress, red shoes. So that display, there was an explosion in a series in a circular motion continually going under the Washington Monument. So take that as you will, but that was a definite display of possibly blowing up the temple. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, there are optics in a lot of stuff these days. So, guys, we are running on overtime now. This has been great. The possible combination video together with Rubber Duck to bring it forward and backward. More or less. No, this is sort of the other side of it. The one that he is just he just touches the you know, the outside of it coming in, and so if you combine those two videos, it will probably be quite interesting actually. Anyways, guys, everybody, keep on fighting, stand your ground. Knowledge is helium in your backpack. Take care of somebody else. Take care of yourself. You have to do that first. And please share all the information that is up in the Jumbotron. Follow the speakers. Follow the host, the co-hosts. Check out the secretary's pinned. You will find everything there. It's like a one-stop shop of knowledge. And Tish, great job as per usual. I'm forever grateful that you bear with us.
No, thank you, Mott, for staying up and sharing all your information. Guys, look up in the Jumbotron, in the pill, tons of reading information. So try to
you need to do the reading. You need to do the reading as well.
Yeah, it's important.
Because it's I will not do the kind of inside out reading, sometimes very nicely presented, that is done by some people in these spaces and so on. I will not do that. You have to read a bit by yourself, make your, let's call it opinion on it, go into the space, question everything I say, use your critical thinking. I might be wrong on some spots, but on the mains, things are what they are, and we just follow the money. Thank you, everybody.
All the optics in a purple pill to get their fill. Morning starts with his voice. He makes the world rejoice. Doesn't complicate the choice. His words so precise. My Bombadil. Gonna make you feel the thrill. Every headline, every spill. He delivers with a chill. People gather around. down and listen. Every bit of news he's dishing gives the facts without a mission. Keeps it simple, no division. Radio waves he controls. News and stories, heart and soul. Purple pill makes us whole. Tom's the one who holds the goal. My Bombadil, gonna make you feel the thrill. Every headline, every spill, he delivers with a chill. Radio waves he controls. News and stories, heart and soul. Purple pill makes us whole. Tom's the one who holds the goal. My Bombadil, gonna make you feel the thrill. Every headline, every spill, he delivers with a chill.
Have a good night, everybody. Thank you, Desperado. God bless.